Welcome back. If you joined us late, Samantha Ryan Chandler is my guest, and she has written a book about her life, and I'm sure it was very painful to write, but out of this she hopes to reach and help other people. And it's called A Love Story, How God Pursued Me and Found Me. And you were abused as a little girl, and then you grew up and you were abused in your marriage.
Yes, I was.
Now, I want you to talk about this, and maybe somebody out there in the audience is going through a really rough time. How do you approach this?
There's not a lot I can help you with on childhood abuse, except know that it's not your fault.
Yeah.
Most abused children grow up to think it was their fault and they caused it. That's not true. You did not cause anything to happen. Bide your time, and one day it's over and you're gone. As for marital abuse, it depends on the abuse. Mine was a greedy man who wanted to throw me away and give me nothing and take my children, and to blemish my name.
You have 3 daughters?
I have 3 daughters. Am I blessed or what?
Yeah.
I have 3.
And you have a relationship with these daughters now?
I do now. The baby and the middle one was used by their father against me. And the baby, who was 15 at the time, who had no idea, she was no match for what he had planned. And he took her from me, and went years. I didn't see her. Sometimes once a year, twice a year. Then there were years we had no relationship. And I'm happy to say she lives 6 minutes away from me now. And it's all good. I did lose the years I could have been influential in her life. And I miss those years, and nothing can give them back to me. But I have my daughter back. And oh, does she love her mommy. Yeah. And her mommy loves her.
So you say that God found you.
Oh, he did. He did. I was stuck on stupid, as I mentioned. He was pursuing me all through my life, and as I wrote it, I saw it. I didn't know it until I went through the massive abuse that I write about in the marriage. I didn't realize God was there in a strand of my events in my life. I did not put it all together. That he'll call you, and he'll call you, and you may not hear it, but it doesn't mean he's not calling you.
Explain what you mean by that.
Well, my life was saved when I was 3. I jumped over a sewage ditch following my brother, and a Coke bottle severed the artery in my wrist. Severed it. Well, for one thing, I should have died from the sewage in my arm. Well, I didn't realize God saved me for a reason. I never put that together, that by all measures, I should have died.
So you had to become an adult and look back to realize
that there was so many times he was there and I didn't know it.
I think that happens to all of us.
I know it does. I know this to be true.
Yeah.
And as you become a Christian, you look back on it and you see it. But as I said earlier, doesn't mean he's not calling you.
Well, how did you become because you obviously are a very committed and devout Christian now. How did this all come about? Well, from the childhood that you had.
Yes.
You've come a long way.
Yes, I have. As a commercial, you've come a long way, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was gradual. It was gradual. I wanted to know God, and I joined Bible studies, and this was in preparation for what was going to happen in the part that I call annihilation of my life, where my husband set out to destroy me. He didn't want to divorce me. He wanted nothing better than to have me naked on the streets with nothing. Not a child, not a money, not a car, not a house, nothing. That was his goal. But God was wooing me before that. And so in the Bible studies, I started looking for scriptures, because I may have been Pollyanna, but I didn't have a Pollyanna life. I was miserable. And I'd wake up and I'd say, I can do this today, I can stay. No, I can't, I can do it, I can't.
You mean in your marriage?
In my marriage. And I didn't know he was planning to throw me away. I just thought I had to make it until the children were grown, and then maybe we'd sort things out. I didn't take lightly when I stood before God and I said, I take this man for better or for worse. Unfortunately, I had an abundance of for worse, but I didn't take that lightly. I married him in front of God, and I tried to make us stay together, but how do you do that when someone's trying to throw you away and they planned it for years? No.
And you didn't, of course, you had no idea when you married this man.
No idea.
He was obviously an evil man.
Yes, obviously. And this is something I've learned in my trial, is you can't wrap your arms around evil. There's no understanding evil. You can't understand it. And nor should we.
You can't wrap your arms around
evil. You can't. Because we're not evil. It's so beyond the pale of what you can imagine that a person's capable of doing when evil is part of it.
And you married and went into this marriage in good faith.
Absolutely.
So what is I'd like to ask you, what is your advice or your word for women and young girls maybe who are caught up in bad situations? How you obviously came out victorious.
In the end.
But you went through a lot of painful times.
I did. I went years without my child. And I had to start over. I didn't have a house and I didn't have any money. My advice would be, do not take another day of abuse. Never. You were not meant to be abused. It's not God's plan for you.
And of course, there are all kinds of abuse. There's physical abuse, there's mental abuse,
emotional abuse.
And emotional abuse. There's all kinds, and in all levels.
It's true.
So you tell women out there,
don't take a day. Do not take a day of abuse. It's not God's plan for you. Just because you have a marriage vow, there's an outlet for abuse.
So
you leave.
You leave.
You leave.
And many times.
And you talk about it.
Many times women stay out of fear.
Absolutely. Mine wasn't out of fear. I didn't have the good sense to know I should fear him. It was only after we started the separation that I truly was afraid of him. Truly. But I didn't know he was capable of doing the things he had planned. I just thought he was an obnoxious guy. I didn't realize he had a master plan. That was my divorce, but I didn't think of him as evil, living with him. I just thought he was not nice. But I think after you realize, he broke my finger once. He did physically abuse me once. He was emotionally abusive. And I should have talked about it more with other people, and I shouldn't have allowed it. Had I left and taken my children, it would have been a different story.
Were you a Christian then? While all this was going on?
I was a Christian all through my 22 years of marriage.
But you were afraid to come forward. I mean...
Well, I was a Pollyanna. I was this person who thought tomorrow will be better. Mm-hmm. You know, I just had hope. I'm no longer a Pollyanna. Pollyanna's dead. A phoenix has risen.
So your advice to women who are caught up in bad situations?
Do not take another day of it.
Don't say, oh, this may get better.
But evil doesn't get better. Anyone capable of hurting you or hurting you emotionally is not a good person to be with. You don't stay there. You think better of yourself and you leave. There's someone there to help you. There's a friend, there's an organization, there's a church, but you can't hide it. You have to reach out. Reach out to me. I'll be happy to talk to you.
Now, you are in Asheville, and we do have a website and a phone number for Samantha Ryan Chandler, should someone wish to pursue a conversation with her or know more about her and about her book. Now, the book is available
on Amazon.
On Amazon.
On all the Amazons.
Okay.
In the UK and France and Australia.
All over the world.
All over the world.
Yeah, yeah. And there is great strength in this book because it is written, it's a true story.
Unfortunately, it is true.
But out of this, maybe you can reach other people who are in deep trouble.
It's filled with scriptures, God-given promises. If God said it, He will do it. All you have to do is believe Him. And the book is full of all the scriptures you need to get going in an abusive relationship.
And you've been there. What are the warning signs? And especially, I'm thinking of young women, young girls.
Oh, yes.
You know, you're caught up in the fantasy of it all, and it
Right.
seems romantic and everything.
Right.
What are the signs that are there that trouble could be down the road?
I'm thrilled you asked this question. Secrecy.
Secrecy.
Yes. Beware of a man that can't tell you where he's going for lunch, can't share what he did for the day, doesn't talk about what he does for a living. Details. Oh, I had a great day. No details. Oh, how was it at work? Oh, it was fine. Well, fine is not a description. Secrecy. Anyone who doesn't open up and share your thoughts, your plans, your days. I think at the end of 22 years, I didn't know this man any better than the day I met him.
And I'm thinking in terms, I'm thinking in terms of young girls, we're almost out of time, but young girls who are dating. And there are signals that go up when you date someone that you shouldn't be doing that.
Well, I'd look at how he treats a waiter.
Okay.
How does he react to someone? Is he kind?
The signals are there.
Signals are there. You just have to see him. It's only after the fact that you see he really was an obnoxious guy, and you should have ran.
Yeah. From Asheville, a love story. This is her book. It is available. Samantha Ryan Chandler. And I have her website and her phone number if you didn't get it. But thank you. Bless you. Thank you for what you're doing to help other people.
Much.
And wherever you are, stay happy.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.